Hello, welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. It's great to be here with you as I look forward to Saturday, the 1st of March, which means that we're only 10 days away from the start of the Cheltenham Festival, which is very, very exciting, of course. And we're going to see some, as always, outstanding national hunt racing. I'll be covering each of the 4 days at the Cheltenham Festival. So do remember to check in. I'll be doing two separate videos, one for the first 2 days and one for the second 2 days. And let's hope that we have a few nice prize winners. I've got a great record over the years at Cheltenham, as I'm sure plenty of you are aware. And indeed, I'm sure that's why the majority of you have been following me for so long. Well, to be honest, here at Sportsbet, February wasn't anything to write home about. Indeed, it was a bit of a damp squib, including last Saturday, where my two selections failed to do themselves justice, running quite poorly. I'm hopefully not going to find that being the case with our one selection that I have for you on Saturday at Newbury. And if you happen to be finding me for the first time, please press the subscribe button just below the screen, and then you'll be kept in touch with all my free selections here at this service. If you're interested in far more of my analysis and selections, then over at Out in Front on the Patreon service, you can sign up and join with the link to join in the description box just below this screen. I have selections already posted for both Saturday and Sunday across a number of the meetings in Britain and Ireland. Anyway, on to my one selection for Saturday, and I'm taking you to Newbury for the Great Wood Gold Cup handicap chase, which is at 3:45. It's going to be running very testing ground, and there are 16 going to post. Now, this does look a fairly hot renewal of a quality race, 2.5 mile handicap chase with a host of horses having serious claims. Now, among them is a horse who was priced up as a rank outsider called Tedley, trained by Nigel Twiston Davis. He was a 40 to 1 shot for 40 to 1. He's now 16 to 1 because there's been money for him, and I'm not surprised. I gave really serious consideration to making him my selection. The 6-year-old, you see, is returning to his optimum trip, having been outpaced but not disgraced when third to the very smart Lola Showgirl in a Grade 2 novice chase over the minimum trip at Warwick last time. His previous form included a very respectable fifth behind Teresita in a quality Ascot handicap, and that suggests he's no forlorn hope on Saturday, a place by no means being out of the question for Tedley. Billy the Real Big Red is trained by both Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero. He's been very progressive this term since switching to fences, winning his first two starts in fine style, then running a cracker when second to Jaguar at Cheltenham last time out, for which he's been raised £3. He's the early favourite. His stable companion Iroko is quoted at between 7-2 and 11-2 with some firms after running an eye-catching fourth in a Grade 3 handicap at Cheltenham in January. However, he's also engaged at Kelso, which is listed as his first preference, so participation with that horse is in doubt. Now, I'm sure you know that Sam Thomas, the trainer, has his team in cracking form, and he had another big win last Saturday. This Saturday, his Vincenzo who's done well for the yard this term and won really well over 2 miles at Sandown last time, is going to represent the yard in this race. He failed to stay this trip on a previous attempt, though, and that's just put me off a little bit. He's going to have to raise his game to follow up his win over 2 miles at Sandown off a £5 higher mark. Cotmas, trained by Gary and Josh Moore, beat Scarface, trained by Joe Tizard, by just under 2 lengths at Ascot just before Christmas. Now, Scarface finished in front of his old rival when they were 4th and 6th respectively at Ascot in January behind Teresita. And while both are entitled to run creditably, I'd be surprised if either is good enough to win this. La Miloche, for Dan Skelton, returns to the scene of his greatest triumph, which I'm sure many of you will recall. It was the 2022 Ladbrokes Gold Cup handicap chase over 3.25 miles at this track, the race that many of the slightly older viewers will remember as the Hennessy, one of the great handicap chases of the season. And the Miloche actually arrives in form following a win in a veterans event. He's gone up £4 for that, but the good young conditional rider Harry Atkins claims £7 back. And while the trip might be just on the sharp side for him at this level, the testing ground could well bring his stamina into play. The ground, however, would be a negative in my view for Saint Seagal, trained by Jane Williams, who's invariably better on a sounder surface. And so to my selection. Well, it is Can Do Kid for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden. This horse was runner up in this race 12 months ago behind Cheltenham, who was receiving £10. And Can Do Kid returns to this venue, having last been seen galloping to glory in the renamed Coral Gold Cup handicap chase over 3¼ miles. Yes, once again, the old Hennessy, establishing himself as a leading Grand National candidate for his master trainer. And I'll tell you something for nothing now, he's one of my three on my shortlist for the Grand National in April. Now, Can Do Kid stayed on very well at Newbury to defeat the rock-solid Broadway Boy, and has been raised £7 as a result of that. But coming back at this trip and facing testing conditions, his stamina, like that of Lamiloche, will certainly help his cause. And I believe that despite top weight, he can win this on his way to having a massive chance at Aintree in April. The weights have already been published for that, so there's nothing to be lost. Now, he was only 13-2, but he's actually drifting, and he's 8-1 available for 5 places with plenty of firms now. I think that's really good value. He's a sound jumper normally, is Can Do Kid, and he's definitely going to stay. And he's the one for me on Saturday at Newbury in the 3:45. I wish you the best of luck with him. I remind you that if you're into more selections, then click on the link in the description box to consider joining me at Out in Front as we start our build-up to the Cheltenham Festival, where we've got really blanket coverage. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, I wish you the best of luck. And after a quiet February, let's hope that everything gets back on track in March, where there's so much great racing to look forward to. Bye-bye for now.